This is the Motorola Moto G51 Disassembly. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure you subscribe and follow me on Twitter so you'll be notified when I upload a new video. If you need any tools, there are links in the description. First, the SIM tray needs to be removed. Next, we need to place a pry tool in between the back housing and the frame of the screen and run along the edges to pop off the catches. Now the back housing needs to be lifted up from the right to the left, but be careful since the flex cable for the fingerprint reader is still attached. There are two Phillips screws holding down a metal bracket, which is covering the connector for the fingerprint reader. Once those screws are removed, we can lift up and remove the bracket and disconnect the cable. The back housing is made of plastic. On the inside, there's an NFC antenna, as well as some antenna flex cables on the sides, top, and bottom. There's also some graphene film here and some on the bottom, and the graphene film helps transfer heat. There are 15 Phillips screws that need to be removed. Now the top plastic cover can be lifted up and removed. The glass camera lens covers can be replaced by applying heat and gently prying them off. Here's a look at the other side. Before we continue, we need to disconnect the battery cable. Now we can proceed to disconnect the rest of the cables. There are two coaxial cables on the bottom right side of the board that need to be disconnected by popping them off. There's also some copper tape covering the connector for the front-facing camera that needs to be peeled off so we can disconnect it. There are two Phillips screws holding on the main board that need to be removed. Now we can remove the main board. The primary 50 megapixel main lens is located on top, followed by the 8 megapixel wide lens and the 2 megapixel macro lens. None of the cameras have OIS. There's a liquid damage indicator, which is the white sticker on top, a secondary microphone, and the LED flash is located next to the primary camera. There's also some copper tape and graphite film over these shields, and the protective tape over here on these chips. On the back, the proximity sensor is located on top. The two other camera connectors are located on the back, as well as the SIM card and memory card reader. There's also some thermal paste on the back shields. Once the shields are removed, we can see more thermal paste on the processor and RAM and these chips. Now the speaker assembly can be lifted up and removed. Here's a better look at that. And here's the speaker itself. The flex cable connecting the subboard to the main board needs to be disconnected, as well as the other two ends of the coaxial cable. There's a single Phillips screw holding down the subboard. Once that's removed, the subboard can be lifted up and removed. There's a rubber gasket around the charger port and headphone jack. The primary microphone is located in the center underneath the shield, and there's another liquid damage indicator, which is that white sticker. Here's a look at the other side. In order to remove the battery, there are no pull tabs to help us pry the battery off, so we're going to have to use some isopropyl alcohol and apply some to the sides of the battery and let it sit there for about 30 seconds to a minute so it eats away at the adhesive underneath, making it easier to pry it off. Here's a better look at the battery. Once the battery is removed, we can see the flex cable for the screen, which is routed through an opening in the midframe, as well as the flex cable which connects the subboard to the main board. If you need to replace your screen, you would have to take the back housing off, remove the screws on the top plastic cover and remove the top plastic cover itself, disconnect the battery cable and screen cable, remove the battery so you gain access to the screen cable, heat up the front of the phone where the screen is to loosen up the adhesive underneath, pry your old screen off, apply new adhesive, reapply your new screen, and reassemble the phone. Moving on, there is 3D graphite or multi-layer graphite which goes underneath the battery as well as the motherboard, and graphite helps transfer heat. The vibrator motor is located on the bottom and it's held down with some adhesive. The flex cable for the power button and volume keys is located over here and it's held down with adhesive, so if you need to replace that, you can just peel it off. The earpiece speaker is located on top, and there's another liquid damage indicator, which is that white sticker underneath the SIM reader. For the repairability score, I give this phone a 7.5 out of 10. Now it's time to put the phone back together. Once everything's back in place, flip over the phone, power it on, and you're done. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.